Hello, 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 everyone. I am Dr. Rowena Winkler, and here we are on Revelations with Rowena. Today, we are super fortunate to have two amazing women here to talk about how we can master our creativity with some structure and automations in place so that we can make an epic impact. I want to introduce Amanda and Mary here on our show, and I wanted to give you both a chance to introduce yourselves, maybe even talk a little bit about your story, what brought you to a brand like hers, and yeah, let's just start off with that. Mary, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Hi, I'm Mary Bernitt. I'm the founder of Brand Like Hers, which is a personal branding platform for women entrepreneurs. And I'm also a coach for women founders. I have been on this journey of entrepreneurship and spirituality and kind of merging the two together, and specifically love working with women. So, yeah, that's kind of how I landed here.
Awesome.
So Mary and I actually met about a year ago. She and I got connected through a mutual friend who's another spiritual guru, yoga teacher, who's into all the woo-woo stuff that both of us are. And the relationship just happened to blossom. I started helping her build Brand Like Hers, and I transitioned into being the CEO in the fall, and it's been a beautiful journey. I'm a couple years behind Mary on my entrepreneurial journey, so I kind of look to her as a mentor, but it's also been really awesome having her as a partner and being able to learn and grow alongside her while we're trying to build this really innovative platform.
So, you mentioned, Amanda, that the two of you were brought together with a friend, and you had this conversation where there was alignment. What prompted you two to partner with each other to start Brand Like Hers?
Well, I'll just say that my friend, it's a good question. My friend, who our mutual friend, told me about Amanda. And I saw Amanda's website and I saw her like Instagram, and I was like vibing on it. I was like, this girl's cool.
It's pretty cool.
I want to work with her. I want to, like, she had, like, it was the same kind of vibe and same kind of wavelength that I was like trying to get on and trying to like work within. And and when I talked to Amanda on the phone the first time, I kind of like dropped some of that vision, and she just like picked up on it and knew what I was trying to do. And it just continued to kind of go in that direction. Like, we just, like, she picks up on stuff like before I lay it down. Like, we're like getting the same information.
Love that.
Definitely aligned in that way. It's funny because I don't know if I, fully expected it, but we're both very driven individuals with big visions and big goals. And, the more we meet in person and co-work and have time together, like the more and more aligned we feel. And it's really cool just to work with somebody who's kind of on that same pathway as you.
And also who has like a similar mission, right?
Yeah.
Well, what is that mission, would you say, Mary?
It is a mission of service, for sure. And specifically service to I would say the expansion of the expansion of the feminine creative process becoming more manifest, and like bringing in more support for like validation and leadership, and embodying those feminine leadership archetypes is something that we try to bring in with Brand Like Hers, because that I feel and have felt, and I feel like a lot of the evolution of the whole like feminist business movement, if you will, has taken this on, is like there really has been like even systematic repression to like fully embodying those leadership archetypes. When we talk about like the queen, the mother, the sorceress, like, we can think of ways like off the top of our head where those expressions of those like archetypal patterns have been oppressed specifically in our society, but definitely all over the world.
I love that, because I feel like as women, when we do want to take on more leadership, right? The research shows it that we can be termed as bitchy or as bossy or, like,
She's
and I
sexy.
know, I know for me, when I worked in a corporate environment that I've had moments where I've wanted to like shrink, right? Or to not speak up as much because I feel like a male colleague will just say the same thing and they'll get the credit for it. So I love this mission of having us women step into these feminine archetypes and express it through our brands, through our work. I love that. I think that's a beautiful way to put it. And I'm here for it. For sure.
And Amanda does that with her work, like at the Branding Babe, which is her photography business, and she like brings that out in people,
Yeah, she
right?
does.
And is able to really highlight it. And so like that was also something that I think like me when I saw her doing that, it was like, oh, we're trying to do the same thing, just like empower women to be more themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely here for it.
To be authentic and true to you and, pave your own path and do things your way, be your own leader.
And not afraid to, right? So, I know I'm a proponent of that, of being able to show up as that authentic self and use your voice and have the confidence to do that. So that's awesome. When you mentioned Amanda and her amazing, photography business and the way to bring out this essence in the clients that you work with, in getting there, I'm sure there are challenges along the way. What are some challenges that you've both seen in your client work where women are feeling, overwhelmed or used or, insert XYZ negative sentiment here when they're starting a business, right? Because it seemed like y'all were in alignment, but not all of us are so lucky to have a partner right out the gate that can have that same vision.
Well,
Yeah,
I'll
a
say,
huge part of what.
I think it's a lag.
Sorry, I'll let you go,
ahead,
Mary.
I was just going to plug, because I think Amanda can better answer this question, but I was just going to plug that, I've had many, like in my journey, I've had many quasi-successful and failed partnerships before I met Amanda. So I think it was just like a willingness to continue trying and trying to like, and expecting that like eventually I was going to find the right fit.
Oh, I'm here for that. I mean, that failing up theme and being perfectly imperfect and just trying to make your way. We're here for it. Amanda, yeah, what did you want to bring to the
Well,
table here?
definitely, if that partnership is something you want, leaving space to cultivate it is really important. I've had the same thing happen where I tried to pursue partnerships before, and I think there were blockages from the other side, where the other individual wanted more control and wasn't able to kind of let that go. So if it's something that you want, manifesting it and being open to that communicative process and that sharing of power is really important. But I would say, like you said, about being confident and stepping into that leadership role, especially as a new business owner. At the Branding Babe, a lot of what I do is make women just feel comfortable, leave space for them to really just open up and be authentic. And then a lot of it on my end is just being like, yeah, that's awesome. I love that you do this or that you do that. Lots of times they think there's certain aspects of their personality that aren't interesting or that people don't want to hear about. And because we're all so self-critical, that's a huge part of it. And a lot of what I end up doing from the strategic element is helping people just kind of like let that shit go. Like people do want to know what you do in your personal life. People are interested in these things. They make you a more well-rounded, approachable human being. So a lot of I think the branding too is doing that transformative work and letting women kind of open up and see the different areas of themselves that really can shine and should be shining.
So in order to make space for the shining to go through, when you're starting a business, you're going to have some sort of process or structures or something in place, right? To get to have that brand awareness. I know for me, in the rebrand with rowenawinkler.com, I'm going through that right now, right? That I'm trying to have this brand visibility, brand awareness, but there are things that have to happen. You know, what tips would you give to folks like me or other women that are trying to make a name for themselves but don't know like where to start or even how to create a system so that it's not only fits their essence but is also scalable and sustainable, right? We don't want to get burnt out either, you know? Does that make sense?
Definitely. Mary, do you want to take this one to start?
Sure. A lot of things came up as you were talking. One of the things I want to say about visibility,
Mm,
because that was one of the words that you used, I think.
yeah,
When we talk, like, because this is more of like a spiritual container, I'll approach it from that angle.
please do.
Visibility is like it's less about these like, oh, I need to like promote my Instagram, and it's more about like, am I willing to expose my soul?
Mm,
Am I willing to expose my deepest vulnerability? And that doesn't mean necessarily writing it out or telling it to somebody or even like, but am I willing to expose it to myself? Am I willing to be open enough to be able to actually have that soul resonance with somebody else? Because as soon as you take that layer off and let your soul really come into your body and expand out, you become this magnetic attractor field for the people that you're here to do the work with. And that work could be like, it could be literally anything. It doesn't have to fall into the container of business, but it totally can. And for me, they're one and the same. And like, so then you were talking about the infrastructure and the systems.
mhm.
And the infrastructure and systems, like if we're again talking about it more from this like integration perspective, it's like, what are the automations that we have in place in our like in our body, which could be like literally, it could be how you hold your posture. It could be like how your synapses are connected,
Mm,
right? It could be like we're talking about literal integration of spirit into the body. And the more that you do that, the more the other things are just going to organically emerge. Like one of the most powerful teacher, actually multiple of some very powerful teachers that I've worked with and found, like don't have a website, right? But they have a wait list,
mhm,
right? So
mhm.
like my therapist guru, whatever you want to call, I don't even know what to call her. She just kind of like
Spiritual guide, I
descended
don't know.
into my into my life.
Everything.
I didn't find her on Instagram. Let's just say that.
Right.
But look, that's not to say that you can't. And that's not to say that that doesn't happen. And that's not to say that that's not a tool to create those connections with people and expand. But it starts from that inner space and being able and open to receive it. And that's how you're going to create the impact too. That's how you're going to actually serve, because you can't really have one without the other. You can't, like, you can create a dope Instagram and you can market it and you can put money into it and people could buy your stuff, but they're going to feel scammed because you weren't actually available to do the work. You were just taking the money, right? Or making them feel like they were getting something, or the other way around, right? Like, you could be really, really open, but not have like boundaries or processes in place to receive those clients in a way where they can pay you. Like,
Right.
you could be giving your gift away every single day and not having like a contract or a payment gateway or like these things in place that allow you to receive that abundance and get that proper energy exchange that's actually going to serve the client better too, or the person that you're helping.
I
So
love that. I love that. I love that. I don't even know that duality, balance, just it's such a beautiful perspective. And I was pulling, it made me think, I'm reading The Big Leap right now.
I love that book.
I was not paid to pull it, but I'm reading it now. And it reminded me of that, Mary, exactly what you're saying, that a lot of this work is figuring out what our upper limit is and what, what are some of these barriers and what do we have to work through in order to step into our own zone of genius. So that was just so beautifully said. And then how can we align the systems and structures to then be able to receive that? So that was awesome. Amanda, did you have anything you wanted to piggyback off of what Mary said?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that makes perfect sense, right? Because as much as you might market yourself or be putting yourself out there for certain services, if the messaging you're telling yourself behind the scenes is, I'm not ready for this, I'm not good enough to do this, people aren't actually going to pay me for this, things aren't going to work out the way you're wanting them to. So a lot of it is making those energetic shifts and being open and ready to receive and having those systems in place, right? Whatever those processes for payment may be, whether you need the contract set up, whether you need a really clear and cohesive website, all these things work together.
Yeah, I think if there are some limiting beliefs there, that it's definitely you're not going to get as far as you possibly can. So it's mindset and then having those things in place. And to your Instagram comment, Mary, I mean, gosh, we know those people that have thousands and upon thousands of followers, but it's just numbers, right? And then they don't have, the
substance.
revenue, the substance, the following, the connections, that service to folks that we want to have, right? So I think it's a great way to kind of pull back that layer and be like, okay, and I know I've been there. You get so focused on the grind of the content and you have to take a step back and be like, wait, why am I here in the first place, right? Like,
yeah.
Stop focusing so hard on this caption and why you're here in the first place. But let's talk about folks that are more, spiritual, creative, who, want to serve more and make more of an impact, but can't really get it together. I know that when we talked before this, Amanda, you talked about the left brain, right brain.
Yeah.
How can we get us folks in this one side of the brain do more of the traditional, what's it? I get mixed up. What are the brains? Which sides is which?
I get mixed up too.
Oh no, is she frozen? Oh, there you are.
While Amanda while the lag clears up, I have something I could add.
Go ahead.
So I was thinking, before this meeting, and then also like in our previous kind of like talk about what we were going to discuss on this live, we were talking about like the creative process, right, and impact, and that's like the title of it, right? So the creative process, so your impact is your creative process. Right? Your impact is you. And I think we get into this, like by saying I want to have an impact or I want to make an impact, we're immediately creating this cognitive dissonance that takes the impact away from ourselves and turns it into the result that we're producing. And then we have to measure that result by something, by either dollars or people we serve or X, Y, or Z, when in reality, it's none of your business the amount of impact you're making on an energetic scale or on a physical scale. Really is none of your business. The only thing that matters is that you are honoring that like sacred space within you and doing the work to expand it. And like that is going to result in impact that you couldn't even fathom or capture in your mind. Like, it's so much bigger than what we tend to like put it in a bottle as.
Yeah. We quantify it's just it's compartmentalized, or it's has these parameters of what it should be, right? Like we're shooting all over it. When that was just an amazing point, Mary, that let's stop going outside of ourselves for that. And I speak to this a lot as someone who hustled to get, her PhD and like did all these external things to have that worth. And it's not until I, went inside myself and took the time and the space to work on myself and to that self-worth and to work on those, breaking down those limiting beliefs, that then I had the room to expand and to build this business. So I think that's just such a profound point. And yeah, you were like, that was just dropping the mic, Mary. That was awesome. Well, I appreciate you reflecting on that. And and as a comms communication scholar at heart, right, a nerd, it's the reframing of it, like
Yeah.
flipping it on its head. And it's not, I want to make impact. Like, I am impact, making an affirmation, girl.
Yeah, exactly. My breathing is having an impact. My going to get acupuncture and embodying into my body is making an impact, right? Like, service to self is service to the world when you're really serving your true self.
I love that. Okay, well then how does that translate into brand like hers? Like, does that infuse into everything that you do with your work with BLH? Like, how do you cull that out of the clients that you work with?
Amanda, can you hear us? Okay.
Yeah.
Was there anything you wanted to drop in?
Well, yeah, I mean, Rowena, you were saying something about left brain, right brain, right?
Yeah.
And I know it is really important to be spiritually aligned and, doing those nurturing things for yourself, like acupuncture or getting massages or whatever it is that makes you feel whole outside of the work. But at least for me, I tend to be a big picture visionary and kind of stay in that zone, or like, what's the cool thing I can make, right? And constantly be in that creative energy. But the reality is, in order to succeed the success that you actually want, you have to kind of enact those left brain tendencies that you might not have. So even just scheduling a day, like one day of the week, to be in that left brain mode and see the systems that you need to get organized, right? Like, I have a whole process for emails. I have a whole library of email templates. I have flow charts as an order of how I communicate with clients. All these systems and processes are put into place at the beginning so that I'm not having to worry about it and stay in the left brain, the rest of the time. I'm only spending that small amount of time in there to really get things organized, and then I can let the creative side of my brain flow. So, as much as you might not be engaged in it or feel like it's the thing you really want to do at the end of the day, it might be a necessary evil. At least in my mind, it's sometimes a necessary evil that I got to sit down and do that strategic stuff.
I love that tip. I actually have some friends that I met through Clubhouse, of course, ladies, my love of Clubhouse, though haven't been on it too much lately, but, friends who are creatives, influencers, and they always say, oh yeah, Monday's my, analytics day, or Monday is my, XYZ. So I think that's a great way to go about it, Amanda, is just chunking that time and having specific time blocks so that then, okay, whew, it's done. Now I can be free and create and do the things that fills my cup, fills my soul.
And just to piggyback on that, like from an energetic standpoint, because like that's like the physical manifestation of it, right? Which is super important, but you can address it from either side. So either like it either comes from the inside out, or you can go from the outside in. So like an example that was coming up as she was talking, like what we're talking still is really, it's about integration and infrastructure, right? Yeah. And it's building out that infrastructure to be able to receive and be able to hold that expansion, to be able to hold that growth, to be able to hold that next level upper limit, right? Like our upper limit is like the fullest capacity that we have to be able to hold that vibration. But the more we invest in the infrastructure, the more our upper limit will organically, our capacity for holding will grow too, right? So if you can change your mindset around it, so where it's not like, it sometimes does definitely feel like a necessary evil, like Amanda was saying, but like if you can really shift your mindset to the point where you're obsessed with it and all of your doing is on building infrastructure, then you're going to be in a state of growth. And that sustainability piece is really what we're talking about here, because what happens if we don't do that, most creatives are really good at getting high, right? We're really good at being like I can have a million ideas and I can have them flowing,
Yes.
flowing, flowing, flowing. Right?
Absolutely.
And I can like
all the ideas, notebooks of ideas. Now what do I do? Yeah.
I can fly around in outer space for 20 years and like be fine with that. But it doesn't actually like move the needle. And then, but what ends up happening is that we grow and expand really big and then we collapse. And we grow and expand and then we collapse. And that's that like bipolar creative cycle. And so we, in order to have the sustainability, we have to have that growth mindset, and the growth mindset starts from shifting your energy and shifting your energetic investment strategy, and whether that's financial or time or whatever, into just consistently building the infrastructure in a way that can support the level that you want to get to.
Wait, say that again. Would you say energetic investment strategy?
Yeah. So like how are you pinpointing your focus and dialing in all of your resources from every dimension to make this manifest?
I mean, how? That's the $1 million question, right? How do you?
It's like shifting your fascia, like literally. Like if we're really talking about the creative process as being like source downloads data into my body, and then I am going through the process of making space, like you were saying, like making space for that to fully sit and become a platform for myself, and live in that vibrational flow and have my habits, my daily habits, move from that space, from that new download. Like then the creation, the physical creation happens much more smoothly, much more simply, much more organically.
Absolutely.
So like yoga, like we go back to just like breath work, like the basics, you know, of just like how do you move out the old stuff and bring in the new stuff and let it recode your DNA. And if we really want to get nerdy, talking about like literally like epigenetic neurogenesis, like it's changing the format of your entire body, and then you're living the different platform, you're living the infrastructure.
Dang, I'm here for it. You know, I recently was asked to provide a top business book for like this list of entrepreneurs and their books. I listed Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic because it essentially is a creative's guide to living without fear and how to create. You know, it's what you're talking about. If you're open up to that inspiration, to that source, you know, the model I use is like the inner muse. Like, how can we channel that? How can we channel that? We have to be in this alignment, in this space. So that's freaking awesome. And I love that you got nerdy. That is super cool. So do you provide that, like, or do you provide tips on that, or is that not really so much? Is that for your own, for a brand like hers, or do you offer that for clients? Or since I feel like that's like another dimension, right?
Amanda, do you want to tap into that? Or
Yeah, so I would say a little bit. You know, we tap into that. Our audience is definitely more general when it comes to, you know, women pursuing either entrepreneurship or wanting to show up online as an influencer. That definitely shows up in the strategic elements of the platform, right? Coaching you through your core values, your archetypes, helping you hone in on your personality and your voice, right? If spirituality is really important to you, that's something that's going to show up naturally as you're going through the platform. But I think, like, you know, if you're looking for something really deep and trying to find those ways to really manifest your dreams in other areas of your life, you know, doing something like a coaching session with Mary is probably the route you want to go under her personal brand. And I know she's still developing her products and services under her own personal brand. But there's definitely more expansive work I think you can do with a coach one-on-one if you're trying to tap into that.
Absolutely. Well, what are some ways that folks that want to know more about you, want to know more about brand like hers and maybe even about Mary's coaching? Where can we find you?
Yeah, so, well, I put my website there, marybernitt.com. So you can schedule, like, there's have coffee with me button. So you can book a session with me to just like connect about whatever it is that you're looking to deepen in your practice, and I can let you know if I have an offering at that time that will work for you. And just see if we're a fit. Right now, what I'm looking for is 3 one-on-one clients for a 3-month program that I'm doing. And it's a customized business coaching program for women that just like it helps you move through. It helps you integrate and move through some of the things that we've been discussing in this call.
Amanda, we want to know how to have amazing essence-filled photography. How can people find you?
Yeah, so you can find my work on thebrandingbabe.com. You can reach out to me via email that way. You can also find me on Instagram, Facebook, Pinterest, all that good stuff. But hopefully I'll be releasing an online course sometimes at the end of the year, some new online products. So even if you're not in the DMV area and you want to, learn more strategies and skills to do your own branded content at home, in the near future, we'll be able to offer that for you.
And y'all, Amanda's a very busy woman. She's literally in between shoots right now, which is why, she's having some lag tech difficulties. It's because she's just, she's just so popular and everyone wants her amazing work.
And then with brand like hers, we are about to finish a demo for the platform, and we'll be launching an opportunity for beta clients to come on and build their brands on our platform, hopefully by the end of the summer. We're looking for 30 to 50 women who want to build their logo, their brand strategy, their website, and all their website content. We're going to be offering it in a really good introductory rate. So if anyone's interested in that, the website is brandlikehers.com, and there's a form if you're interested in being part of that beta group on the pricing page.
Fantastic. What are some of the, what are some things that folks that are interested in signing up will expect for the beta program? Like what does that entail specifically? Is it just like demoing it, or is there a certain time frame that?
Well, it's the platform is brand asset management and strategy. So, and then it's also like a website generator. So as you go through, like it's going to walk you through the development of all the aspects of your brand, like the strategy, the actual creative part of it, like the logo and the like other brand assets, your fonts and colors. And then you'll be walked through how to create your website content. And at the end, it will generate for you a branded website that combines all of it together, that you can then manage it on the platform that we developed.
Fantastic. Well, I don't know, we're having some audio issues and we're
I
having
don't know what that noise is.
issues. I don't know what that is either.
Is there a horse nearby?
It sounds like someone's walking on some leaves. This has never happened before. I don't know, because we're in Gemini season. I don't know. I'm just going to pretend that it's I don't know what's going on, but no worries. I feel like that you gave some really great nuggets and wisdom and gems, and I appreciate both of you for spending some time. Next week we're gonna take the live portion off because we want you to be an attendee of the manifest your dream. No, Manifest Your Destiny Dream Builder Summit which I am a speaker on Saturday, but the conference is from Thursday through Sunday. You can get a ticket through my pages, and I don't know what's happening with this technology. So we're just going to stop here, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Amanda.